Hi everybody, this is Felicia with FeliciaMariaG.com. Today I'm talking to you about how to reset your internal clock. Now, there are quite a few different ways to do this. I've actually done it myself. I just experimented and researched a lot of the ways that our ancestors just existed in the world. We're talking about before there was lighting, electricity, right? How did they operate? Now, clearly it was with the sun and the moon cycles, right? And I wanted to get back to that. I wanted to really reset with nature, because if you're resetting your internal clock, what's the point if you're not going to do it with nature? You want to be in sync with the sun and the moon cycles, right? So here's a step-by-step guide of how I did this myself. I started in the evening because I have this habit where I tend to be like staring at my phone in a dark room at night. So that's one of my, I don't do it anymore, but it was one of my bad habits that I had. So what I did was I started with things in the evening. It was just easier for me. But I'm going to describe both to you and you just try what's easier for you. Now, what I did was I gave myself a break, 30 minutes, no tech, no TV, no phone, no computer, at least 30 minutes before I would go to bed. And I turned off all the lights and I lit 1 or 2 candles instead. So I started with that, just keeping candlelight in the house instead of having all these artificial lights on and then trying to go to bed. I didn't even have lamps on, unless I did have one lamp on sometimes because it's one of those lamps that went up. And so it wasn't like the light was right in your face. So if you have a lamp like that, it's fine. It's very low lighting. You can try that if you have a difficult time, but I would suggest just going the candlelight route. So that's just 30 minutes. Now, what I do now is actually like an hour before I go to bed. I increase the time over time and I really enjoy it. I like just writing in my journal or pulling some oracle cards or doing something like that. So that's my suggestion to start. Remove all artificial devices, artificial lighting, etc. 30 minutes before you go to bed. Now, what we're going to start doing though is preparing you to start winding down when the moon starts rising and start waking up when the sun starts rising. Okay? Now you'll have to look up when the moon rises and when the sun rises according to your time zone. And of course, this changes based on what time of year it is. So you want to look those up. But what you start doing is when you find out what time the moon, so right now that I'm recording this, it's June. So for me, we don't have it get dark here right now until like about 9 p.m. And the sun sets around 8 p.m. So about an hour later, it's getting dark out. So let's say if I were starting this process right now, what I would do is when I saw the sun set completely, that's my quiet time now. Okay, this doesn't mean I'm not necessarily watching TV. It means I'm watching it on a low volume setting. I'm starting to quiet things down. For me too, when the sun sets, I don't eat anything anymore. And I do intermittent fasting, so I'm a little bit on a different schedule right now. But when I was on this schedule, when the moon was up, I was not eating because this is my body's trying to wind down for bed, right? So that's my suggestion. Look up those times and see how it works within your schedule as well, but just don't eat after that time if you can, okay? And if it's safe for you. Water is great, even lemon water is great. Things that are more of like a detox type feeling. Now, this lets your body start to relax before it's time for bed. Now, when the moon comes up, okay, when we have our moon rising, now you're starting to wind down. It's going to be about probably 90 minutes to 2 hours, and you're going to feel ready for bed. So that's really the first step. Now, because you're on a cycle with the moon now, you're going to start to sync with the sun too. So let's say the sun's, I think we're getting a sun rising around 6 a.m. So when the sun starts rising around 6 a.m., when you practice this long enough, you're going to find that you naturally just start syncing with the sun. So I wouldn't necessarily say to set your alarm so that you're up at sunrise. Although when I first started it, that's what I did because I wanted to get myself in the habit. So it's your call. I've done it both ways. But I would say set your alarm and start waking up with the sunrise. And I did mine about 15 minutes ahead of time. Okay, now here's my suggestion for how to start to sync with it. Get up and do like 10 or 15 minutes of yoga or go for a walk so that you can actually connect with the sun when he's first out. Okay, and you're going to start to just absorb that energy. The sun, don't listen to what people say the sun is the strongest at high noon. I guess it is power-wise of how intense the sun is, but I'm talking about when it has the most energy is when it first comes up. So if you could be outside when the sun is rising, even doing some quick yoga or going for even a walk around the block really quick, that's the quickest way to sync with it. Okay. Now, when you do this for about a week, 10 days, maybe 14 days, kind of pushing it, you're going to start to naturally sync with these cycles. And what you're going to find is around 7:30, 8 p.m., you're going to start yawning. Doesn't mean you're going to pass out like you're asleep for the night, but your body's starting to wind down because you're syncing with the cycle of the moon. And in the morning, you're probably going to start waking up around 5:45, 6, because you're syncing with the sun. So that's how you want to do it. Don't make your body process a lot of food late at night. Keep it a little more detox level, water, fresh juice, lemon water, lime water, something like that. No sugary desserts and things like that, because you're just amping yourself up, right? So keep in mind, like if you were about to put a child to bed, would you give them a bunch of sugar right before they're going to go to bed? No, you wouldn't, because guess what would happen? They would drive you crazy. So think about that with your own system, right? This includes wine. It's funny because I'm wearing a wine t-shirt today. It says group therapy. So instead of doing something like this as an escape, and it's funny that I'm wearing this because I don't even drink wine. I just like the glitter. So instead of escaping with something like that to relax, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but start to cycle yourself with the sun and the moon and nature instead. And by the way, the more time you spend in nature while you're doing this and while you're trying to sync yourself, the better it's going to be for you. The better you're actually going to feel. So the more you can keep yourself on a little bit of a detox, I think you're really going to enjoy it. Okay? So maybe ditch the wine for just a little bit. It's high in sugar too. So instead of using that to relax, maybe have an herbal tea. My favorite tea is GABA tea, which instantly increases the GABA in the brain, right? And that's what helps you sleep. That's what relaxes you. So try something like that in the evening and read a book, you know, or catch up on your favorite TV show, something that's relaxing to you, something that you really enjoy. But my suggestion really, if you want to go the full bore with this, is to keep all media out of it, right? Get a book or a magazine or your journal, even better, and connect with your inner self. Write down how you've been feeling, etc. There's a lot of different ways to do this. So comment, try it out, let me know. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about it. I respond to all of them and I really want to know how this is working for you. I've done it, so I know it works. I've suggested to others. It seems to be working well for people. I want to see how you feel when you try it, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I would love to connect with you on all my social media platforms. We will link you below. Have a wonderful day. Bye.